So next up, we have Chris Van Wijk, Executive Director and Exploration Manager of Marvel Gold.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to PayDirt, and thanks to my peers for the graphite and the gold explanations. I'm going to try and use the laser pointer a little bit because I've got some maps in here. And so let's kick off. The disclaimer. Marvel is a reasonably new story. We recapitalized the company about 12 months ago. The predecessor to Marvel was a company called Graphex Mining that holds a project called the Chalala Graphite Project in Tanzania. We have a couple of slides on that at the end of this presentation, and if you'd like some more detail, feel free to pop by the booth and I can probably answer some of those questions. The reason we're here today is to talk about the gold in Mali. We have an exciting resource there which is growing. It's currently at 910,000 ounces at 1.2 grams per ton. We've consolidated a very large land package around that resource. It's currently sitting at 830 square kilometers. And we've done multi-element soil geochemistry on that and high-resolution magnetics. And we've generated some really good data sets that are going to help us target and hopefully grow that resource over the next 12 months to 2 years. This year has been a really busy year and an exciting year, and we did some metallurgical test work, which was very promising, sort of underpinned our belief in this project, and we'll have a little bit more around that as we go forward. The board are all fairly experienced individuals. Phil Hoskins is the managing director. Phil would ordinarily be speaking to you today, but he's had knee reconstruction, so I'm afraid you get me instead. I hope I won't let you down. Stephen Dennis is reasonably well known, and Andrew Pardee has lots of West African experience. He was the ex-CEO of Centamin, who have the Sukari gold mine in Egypt and have been active in Côte d'Ivoire as well. Our capital structure, we've got 578 million shares on issue. We recently raised some money at a premium, and we brought in a cornerstone investor in the Delphi Group. And so the major investors are Capital Drilling through their direct investment fund, the Delphi Group, which is out of Germany, and a couple of other smaller funds, board management holding 2.6%. We've got about $6 million in the bank at the moment, and we expect to take another couple of $1 million out of the IPO. And so we're pretty well funded for the work that we see in front of us at the moment. As I said, it's been a really busy 12 months for Marvel in Mali. We have an expat exploration manager who's called Dr. Rick Tomlinson, who I've worked with for a number of years. Previously at First Quantum. Rick is based in Abidjan, and he's really been the catalyst for us through this period of COVID, in that he can fly backwards and forwards from Abidjan into Bamako as necessary, and obviously has a team of guys that he's worked with over a number of years. So COVID really hasn't been much of an impediment to us, and luckily we've had no cases either. So we've had a very busy year. We've put nearly 9,000 meters of drilling into the deposit. We updated the resource, so that went from 600,000 ounces to 900,000 ounces, so a jump of 50% in ounces, and went from 1 gram per ton up to 1.2 grams per ton, so a 20% increase in grade. We de-risked the project. There is some arsenopyrite with the ore, so that was a risk for us. We did some metallurgical test work, and we've confirmed that the deposit is not refractory. And we did our first community project, or 2 community projects, which were solar-powered water bores, and we'll touch on that a bit later as well. So more recently, the news has been around the Chalala graphite spin-out. That asset is going to be given a new lease of life through Evolution Energy Minerals. The chairman is Trevor Benson. Trevor's here at the conference as well, so he can give some more detail on that if necessary. And recently we expanded the tenement position to 830 square kilometers and have started collecting more soils on that, and we'll get cracking with ground mag and the other data sets that we like to use early in the next field season. So whereabouts are we? We're in southern Mali. The flagship project is the Tabakoroli project, which is in central southern Mali. The other projects in the west, Lekanfla and Sakar, are right near the Sadiola mining license. Yanfalila in the Yanfalila belt, and Colindiaba is sort of midway between Tabacoroli and Marilla on another splay off the Bannerfin Shear Zone. Tabacoroli is the project that we're going to talk most about today. It should be pointed out while I'm on this slide that this is a really safe part of Mali. We don't use any security personnel to go down there. We don't, and we haven't had any incidents in this part of Mali at all. Geologically, where are we? Well, we sit between, this is obviously the waxy map, comes out of one of the more recent academic papers, and I suppose we sit between what are defined as the two traditional belts, being the Marilla belt in the east and the Yanfalila belt. The controlling structure in our part of the world is the Bannerfin Shear Zone, and we believe we sit on a splay off the Bannerfin Shear Zone, which is evidenced by a really busy signature in the regional magnetics. The resource, as I told you about a bit earlier, is 910,000 ounces at 1.2 grams a ton, and that's using a 0.6 cutoff. So it's possibly a higher cutoff than our peers would use in this part of the world. As you see, if you drop the cutoff, we're up over 1 million ounces, and that's with our resource geologist, Brian Wolf, at the moment. Brian's an independent resource geologist. He's quite well known. He's done resources for West Africans, probably the best one in our context. And we're pretty confident that we'll get a reasonable uplift based on the 10,000 meters of drilling that we've done this season. I touched on the metallurgy a little earlier. We took 4 drill holes across the strike length of the deposit, so really representative. We picked samples that are around our resource grade, so nothing outlandishly high or low, and we ran simple bottle roll leach work on those. And in a nutshell, what you see is at a fine grind size, you're getting nearly 97% recoveries, and at our coarsest grind size, you're getting 93% recoveries. So in reality, we're going to be somewhere in the range between 75 and 150 microns grind size, and we'll obviously look to optimize these results as we go forward. I keep on going on about a really busy year. These are the highlights of that busy year, and I suppose the standout results here are 12 at 2.1 in the center of the deposit. In that same hole, we got 18 at 1.9 and 10 at 1.5. And then up in the northwest here, we had a couple of really good hits. So 21 at 1.5 up here. We had 16 at 2 in a new zone and 6 at 6 on the same section as well. So, like I said, we're reasonably confident with all of these hits coming in. You know, the majority of them are above the resource grade. I suppose we're reasonably confident that we're going to get a material uplift to the resource in the next few weeks as well. Obviously, that's going to come down to the geostatistics. So, fingers crossed. This is a section through the Tabacoroli Central, which is one of the areas that we put quite a lot of drilling into. I suppose what gave us the confidence in this were the 3 RC hits which came in. So 17 at 0.7, 4 at 2.8, 6 at 1.7. This hole was the one I just mentioned, and 22 at 1.8 over a strike length there of around 200 meters. So it should provide a nice addition to the resource, which, as you can see from these grades, was reasonably low grade in this area, and we didn't see the reason for those low grades. It was sort of informed by only 1 or 2 drill holes that came in with quite low results, and well, our perceptions were quite well founded. The drilling results have been really good in this area. This is the regional picture. I was talking earlier about the interpreted structural corridor. This is a setting that we like, so we've worked really hard at trying to consolidate this land. And we've been quite fortunate in that there aren't a number of other major listed companies in this area. So we've been able to consolidate this land package quite quickly and really quite cheaply. And we own most of those licenses. Well, we're in the process of sorting that out. Some of them will fall into the Altus JV, and we'll end up owning a number of those 100% in our own name. The plan going forward, we've already collected regional soils over these 2 big licenses. We'll back that up with ground magnetics early in the next field season. As you can see in this part of Mali, I'm showing some high resolution ground magnetics. In this part of Mali, the high resolution ground magnetics works really well for picking the structures, and the soil geochem works really well as well. So we feel like we've got a really good combination there for guiding our exploration into the future, and a nice land package which will underpin a couple of years of solid exploration as well. This is the regional soils. So what we did here, we took a number of our pulps and we did multi-element analysis on them, and we obviously came up with a signature that incorporates arsenic, tellurium, and tungsten. So the dots that you can't really read here are exactly that. The white dots are the ones that I'd really like you to focus on. Those are where we have all three of those pathfinder elements. And the background is a heat map image of gold. So you can see that this corridor around Tabakoroli is highly anomalous for gold. You can obviously see the deposit is anomalous for everything. And then we've got a series of other targets that are along strike on, on the same sort of structural trend that have anomalism in all of those elements. So we were really excited by this. We've got a number of strong targets going into next year, and we've got the funding to follow those through. As I said, we did our first 2 community projects this year. They were reasonably simple projects, but have an extremely high impact. We did solar-powered water bores with overhead tanks and a number of taps, and effectively that just means that the villagers are able to collect water any time of the day or night on demand without having to expend a huge amount of energy with the old hand pumps, which, if you've ever tried one of those, they'll sap you of your energy pretty quickly. Onto the Chalala project. We've only got a couple of slides on this because the focus is the gold. I'm not going to go into any of the details around the product quality, but believe me, it's really good. It's a DFS level project, and I suppose one of the key takeaways for me is that it's not often you see a DFS level project coming to IPO. That really is quite unusual. It's had a lot of money spent on it to date, 21 million. It's been de-risked, it's fully permitted, and it's an exciting opportunity. The structure of the IPO, it's going to come on the board with a market cap of around 32 million. We're raising 22 million, which effectively gets rid of the previous debt over the project. And Marvel expects to take out of that a couple of $1 million in cash and $10 million in shares. So the upcoming news flow, I suppose, the graphite IPO we've been through. Drilling will be restarting again as soon as the rains let up in early November. We've got some tentative plans to trial some auger drilling in the meantime as well to see if we can firm up some of our geochem targets. And we've got an updated resource due this month, which we're quite excited about. So it's a great story. Thanks very much for your time.